Alright, so now let's talk about the free toolkit. So there's a lot of free things out there, right? You have to really look out for what is free, what is not, what is going to be free for like a minute. You know, there's a lot of different ways to get a free toolkit, and when you start off, you know, you don't really need that much. So it can be really easy to get that free toolkit. But we'll also look at some misconceptions, some things you don't want to do, some things you do want to do in that case of trying to find that free toolkit. I mean, there's a lot of things that they say they're free, but they're not, right? They're only free for like a limited time or this or that. So we're going to look into how to find that those free things. It's like a public library, right? It's full of free books, but they have catches. If you don't return the book, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, you know, then you have to pay. That's how a lot of these work. So we're going to cover all of this stuff, right? So the first segment we're going to look at is why we distrust free, right? Why don't we like free? Well, it's our history with free, right? So our history is someone says it's free, and then it turns out to be a lie. People lie all the time, especially on the internet, about stuff being free. It'll be free and then you have to pay, or if it'll be free and you have to use a credit card, then it's not free, right? If they can make payments from you, it's not free one way or another. Unless you're very, very careful about it, but you would probably want to call support just to make sure as well. That's what I typically do. So here's the free basic toolkit, right? Just look for, you know, Google Analytics, Google Search Console. So the base or the foundation is going to be Google's tools. And what are Google's tools, right? It's Analytics, which is when someone's already on our site. And then there's Search Console, which is getting people to our site. How many impressions do we have? How many this? How many that? So there's also Canva. Canva has a good free tier for design. That's for design, of course. Figma is another alternative that's free and really good, and there's a lot of good content about Figma out there. Design, you might be doing, may not be doing. For free, it's hard to get AI images, stuff like that, because it costs them money, right? So the only exception is the website, right? So free site builders aren't really free. So you want to look at a site builder, right, that is low cost and is really low cost. You can't and then there's hosting too, which isn't free no matter what, unless you're doing it on your own computer, which is really tech. You know, it might just be worth it to pay that $20 a month or whatever you call it, right? So all of these free toolkits are important to focus on and just get into, right? Do you need design? Do you need a site builder? Do you need this? Do you need that? Do you want to hire somebody out who knows all these tools so you don't have to learn them? You know, there's if you want to do this down the road further, of course, learn them. Why would you hire anybody if it's going to cost you a lot of money? But if you don't have that much time, I understand it as well. I mean, a small business has a lot of stuff to do. So let's move on to segment 3. So free sometimes genuinely just isn't enough, right? Sometimes you have to move up from free. It's not good to pretend that it's good. You know what I mean? Sometimes there is a real cap when you're going for free. I mean, these people got to make money too. So let's look at that cap. So, you know, you have a limit to use on your free trial, or they would just, you know, why wouldn't everything be free, right? Why wouldn't food be free if there was no limit to it? Because someone has to pay for it. It costs them money, so it's going to cost you money some way or another. So sometimes it triggers, sometimes it automatically does it, pulls out of your account. That's only if you give them a way to pay, of course. Just something you have to watch out for. So now let's look at the traps, right? So what do people fall for in this free that we don't trust? You know, that they lie to us, all of these other things. So sometimes free trials will quietly bill you and then at the end ask for money. So they will overbill. They will overbill you. That happens a lot. You got to check out your billing, check out your usage, call them if you have any questions. So then you also have this data lock-in, right? So if you want to move because it's too expensive, you can't. All your data is with them. So to move, you have to do even more cost. And then lastly, or there's even more expenses with moving with all your data and stuff like that. So then there's free with strings, right? That's just like limited, like I said before. There's some capabilities you can do, most of them not, because once again, your session costs them money no matter what. But sometimes they're okay with that because the other ones make up for it, right? That's how they get users. You know, like Adobe gives out free licenses to college students sometimes. Why? Because it gets them like that's the professional tool now is Adobe. If other people did that too, like Microsoft does that as well. So after looking at all those misconceptions, let's look at how to get the first stack. So how do we build a tech stack or all the tools we're going to use? Oh, this pen just died. Oh, there we go. So how do we build it, right? The first step is to create more of like a skeleton. So what do we need? So that's more general. And then you just, work it through. So you refine it. And then after you're done with that, you actually find the information out there. So go do the research. And then just, you got to save it somewhere. Save it, write it down, website, test it out, all that other good stuff. So now let's move on to some really common misconceptions. Free tools are low quality. That's not true. Sometimes they're higher. It depends on who's running it, right? It's not just universally free tools are worse. Like Figma is great. Figma is like amazing. I love Figma. And paid does not mean more professional. It just means more capabilities most of the time, unless there's like a little watermark on something, then it does look less professional, right? You get what you pay for, not always, right? Price doesn't equal quality. We've seen that multiple times. There's almost always strings on free, some way or another. So it's not looking cheap. You are being cheap, but it's not looking that way most of the time, unless it shows up on your site. Free tools won't scale. That's not true. Most of the time, that's how they get people to scale. And if you want to move, you want to make sure you don't get data locked in, of course, again. So more expensive tools don't always get better results. Once again, quality does not equal price. And then you want to just, go through and use that trial period. So what do I mean by use that trial period? Cancel if it's too expensive, right? Like if it's way too expensive, you can cancel the trial and they won't charge you. If it's monthly, it depends, right? You gotta really check the fine print on that one because they'll get you. But you just want to make sure that you have all the tech you need, where you need it, and how to understand and use it. Because every tech's different in some way or another. Like sometimes there's be a button at the bottom or a top or a different icon. It's just everywhere in tech, right? So let's do a quick recap. Let's start at the beginning here. And let's focus on these free toolkits. So the first thing, why do we distrust it? Well, our history is they lie to us. That free is a lie most of the time. So the base, like a good foundation, is to use Google's Analytics and Search Console, right? But not only just use the Search Console, to also use a design tool. It's either Canva or Figma. And then after that, you want to look at the site builders. So site builders, sometimes they say free, most of the time they're not, especially if they're hosting as well. You just got to look out for that. I think, my camera moved. All right, let's fix this. There we go. That's one way to do it, I guess. All right, so normally they limit you, they cap you. And then you also want to make sure you're not falling in for any traps or trips, that overbilling, that data lock-in, or that limited use, right? Especially when it's like, it'll just shut off your site. It's terrible. So you want to build, you want a skeleton, you want to refine, you want to research, and you want to use trials, right? You also need a domain. I forgot to talk about that. You need a domain name service. There's a lot of other stuff you need. Just get into it. This is more of the process of everything. I don't want to tell you like, oh, X is good, Y is good, right? Because I don't know, because it's specific to your business, right? If you're really cost effective, if you got a lot of users, different things are going to be needed for you. You can always call support. Again, realize that they're trying to sell you, right? You can call support, but don't take every last word for it, right? Like there's still some leeway there. And yeah, so that's basically it. If you have any questions, just email me, anything like that. Yeah, thanks.